Hello and welcome to the Global Sports Channel. I'm your host Mark Philpott, and today I am super excited because we're going to be starting our journey with our new loveathletes.com platform and program. Our global trial starts and we're going to be introducing you to all these athletes that are participating in the global trial for the loveathletes.com platform. Now, before I go any further, I just want to explain what loveathletes.com is all about. We're going to be providing athletes across the world who are either budding professional athletes or athletes that are in their career or about to retire from their professional sports career with a whole range of different levels of support. Now, one of the things that many athletes need around the world is more funding, and we're going to provide an opportunity for the athletes that are on our platform to actually raise money to help them on their athletic journey. This is quite an innovation, and we're going to be helping them through our sports fans across the world. So yes, you, the very people that are watching this particular program, are going to be able to donate and help these athletes out on their particular journey. Now, in return, these athletes are going to produce weekly videos about their training, their sports, and all the things that are going on in their life. Those videos are going to be put on our website at loveathletes.com. Each athlete is going to have their own page dedicated to their sporting journey. And you're going to go there and check out all these pages and all these wonderful athletes. And if there's anybody there that you think, well, you know what, I really want to help that person in their sporting career, then you can make a contribution financially. In addition to the financial support we're going to offer these athletes, we're going to be helping them with vital things like mental health support. We're going to be helping them in training, whether it be media training, whether it be getting connections throughout the corporate world, preparing them for retirement and moving them on to the second chapter of their life when they're ready to do so. And as we know, a lot of athletes end their career unexpectedly through injury. Well, we want to be there for them during that process as well. So loveathletes.com is all about putting the athletes at the center of the support universe. A lot of athletes are not supported by their sports federations and associations, and we want to step in and help out these athletes across the world. Now, we've picked a handful of athletes that are going to participate in the global trial that's going to last for 6 months. You're going to meet one of those athletes right here today on this program, and you're going to be able to go to our website at loveathletes.com to find out who the rest of the athletes are. Maybe there's an athlete there that's into a sport that you really like to support, and you're going to be able to find a way to make a contribution. So that's what Love Athletes is all about. Let's get on with the show. Today, we're going to meet an Australian young athlete. His name is Luke Palmer, and he lives in Tasmania in Australia. So let's go over now and meet Luke. It's a very warm welcome to the Global Sports Channel today to Mr. Luke Palmer. Luke, how are you, mate?
Hello, good, thanks.
Now, we were just talking, Luke, before we started the show today, that you're a little bit cold because you're down there in cold old Tasmania in Australia. Is that right?
Yeah, it is quite cold. Quite cold tonight.
So a lot of people that are watching the show today, they're in different parts of the world that are having summer at the moment. So just let those people know how cold it is in Tasmania today. How cold was it down there today?
Well, right now it's about 5 degrees Celsius. And it was bucketing down with rain. But,
raining and cold.
Yes, it was raining as well.
Pretty miserable day in Tasmania.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Although it's usually nice and sunny, isn't it? We've got to give Tasmania a good plug as well, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So listen, welcome to the show, and I'm really excited to talk to you today because, as you know, we're launching our Love Athletes platform, and you're going to be one of our global trialists on the Love Athletes platform. How do you feel about that? Are you excited about what's going to happen?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens and see where it takes us.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, well, everybody around the world who's watching and listening to the show today are going to want to get to know you a little bit more. So let's start off by telling them what sport you're into, because we know you live in Tasmania. So let's tell everybody what sport you're into.
Well, as you can tell by my jumper here, I love running. Anything to do with athletics or cross country. I run middle distance, so 1500, 3K, and cross country, which can be a bit longer.
Now, tell us what got you into running. What made you get excited about getting into the sport of athletics?
Well, I tried out athletics like from a young age, about 5, doing little athletics, and I always enjoyed it. But as the went up age groups, uh, we went into longer distances, and that's why I really wanted to stay, because I was a lot better at them than the sprinting.
So you like the longer distance stuff, yeah?
Yeah.
So did it work out quite quickly that you realised that you enjoyed the longer distance stuff, quite quickly, or did you try everything to start off with?
Well, I tried all things, all events, and I was all right at it. But I guess as I kept training, kept trying, and got better.
Yeah. Now, was there a lot of competition when you were younger in terms of, was there a lot of kids taking up athletics? Because you do live in a state that's very focused on football and cricket and things like that as well, right?
Yeah. Well, at Little Athletics, there used to be just at our local meets, like 20 people turn up just in our age group. So it was pretty big amount for considering the
Yeah.
small part that we're in.
Now, I've got to let everybody know who's watching and listening in today that you're a pretty humble guy. So when you talk about, your successes and that, you are extremely good at what you do, and you've been doing that for a while. So when you started off, were you winning races to start off with? Was it something that came pretty naturally?
I was doing okay. I was not really. I was like up there, but never really winning races. But
Mm. So what part of it did you enjoy the most when you first started? Were you really trying to win? Was that a big goal for you, or did you just want to go out there and have fun and just enjoy
uh,
running?
it was more just about the enjoyment. Getting exercise. I used to do it. I did other sports as well. I wanted to see if that helped me in other sports, and I just really enjoyed doing running.
Now, a lot of people get into running because they love the kind of loneliness of it, where you get out there and you run by yourself and you've just got yourself to think about. Is that something you like as well about running?
Well, I've got a training squad, so I always enjoy running with them, talking to them,
Yeah.
catching up with them as well outside of running.
Okay. And why don't we give a plug to your training squad? What's the name of your training squad down there in Tasmania?
Well, we don't really have a name, but I guess the Tassie distance runners, I think, is what they call us. But
Tassie distance runners, right?
yeah.
Well, I think it's about time you came up with a name for your group, isn't it?
Yeah, we used to have one, but got changed.
What was
And
it?
I'm not sure.
What was it? Do you remember?
Susan's Track Panthers.
Susan's Track Panthers, because that's your coach's name is Susan Andrews, yeah?
Yeah, Susan Andrews.
So a big shout out to Susan. She's an ex-Australian Olympian, and she's doing a great job with you guys. How long ago was it that you started training with Susan in the group, Luke?
I didn't start training with Susan until about 2 years ago. But then I was also training with a vet who was like the pathway to Susan's group as you get older.
Right, okay. So it was age-related that you started training with Susan?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And do you remember back to your first ever race?
No, I don't think I can remember that.
You don't remember your first race? You're not that old, mate. Come on, you should be able to remember your first race.
Well, I was like 5, so.
Yeah, I guess that's 9 years ago, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, do you remember back to some of your first races? Do you remember what's the first race you do remember?
I do remember the first 800 I ran, which was at Little Athletics, so just a club run.
Yeah.
It was like 3:09 in under 9s or something. I don't remember.
So you ran 800 meters in 3 minutes and 9 seconds.
Yeah, in under 9s.
Wow, that's pretty good. And did you go out too fast in that race? Did you blow up in the last 100 and so?
Most likely.
It's always the danger with the 800, isn't it? Going out too fast in that first lap. Yeah.
Yeah, especially being 8 years old.
Yeah, not knowing too much about it. So,
No.
so when you look back, from when you're 8 to 14, do you think you've learnt a heck of a lot about the sport of running and how to, not only pace yourself but training and all the other things that you do today?
Yeah, I think I've learned a lot more. Like when I was 8, I'll just run out in front. It doesn't really matter what pace I went out the first lap.
Yeah.
um, yeah, and Susan has taught me a lot about how to train and the components of training.
Yeah, right, good. And do you focus a lot on the nutrition side of things as well?
Yeah, but like in the TTP, they teach us a lot about different nutrition we should be taking, and when we should be taking it is another important part of it.
Okay, good. Now tell us what TPP is, because a lot of people watching won't understand what that's all about.
It's the Tasmanian or the Target Talent Program for Tasmania,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just about developing athletes and giving them advice and training, um, and sort of testing them to see areas that they can improve.
Okay, so the Target Talent Program, TTP. And how long have you been involved in that?
I just started last year when I was invited to join the TTP, um, based off the selection from nationals, and they had to last year. They kind of had to predict where you would come because of COVID, and not actually getting to do the nationals last year.
Right, okay. I was going to ask you about that because COVID's obviously affected a lot of sports, and a lot of people watching today are fans of sport across the world in a professional sense, but right down to your level, it's also been impacting your sport. So how has COVID affected you over the last 12 months with your sport?
Yeah, well, it's caused a lot of cancellations of events and not being able to go to other states and compete. But in Tassie, it's been like pretty good. Otherwise, like we haven't had too many cases, and we've been able to train all throughout this period.
Do you think it's helped you in some ways?
Uh, you know what? Well, I guess maybe not having so many events going on and really being able to focus on my training and improving at running.
Hmm. Okay. But it's also been frustrating, I guess, that you haven't been able to go to some of the competitions that you'd like to go and race in, yeah?
Yeah, that's been quite annoying because trained quite hard for the nationals last year for it to not go ahead.
Now, I'm sitting here with a little bit of a sore knee tonight. Have you, do you get many injuries at your age? You probably wouldn't, would you?
No, I don't get many injuries. Other than I've got Osgood Schlatters, which is just like growing pains, even though I'm not very tall. But
Right. Well, that
um,
means you're getting a bit taller then, yeah?
I guess.
So no injuries so far, touch wood.
No serious injuries at all.
That's good. So are you jumping in an ice bath after every session, or what? How do you manage that?
I don't really use ice baths. More just rolling and stretching after every training session or event.
Yeah. Let's talk about training because a lot of people are interested in, what does a 14-year-old actually do for training during the week? So what does a typical training week look like for you? How much capacity do you do?
Well, I have 5 to 6 training sessions a week, um, and 5 of them are based off running, and one of them's based off a strength session. Um, and it's made up of like a long run, a speed session, and sort of like a tempo run or a threshold run.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you're teaching your body, you're coaching your body to go through the different elements of speed and also, just routine of running at a capacity. How many kilometers would you run a week, would you say, at the moment?
At the moment, it would probably be about 60, 50, 60, but that goes up depending on what's coming up.
Okay, and what's your favourite distance at the moment?
Uh, at the moment, it'd probably be the 1500 or the 3K. Um,
1500 or 3K. Okay.
yeah, uh, the events that I've been training and focusing towards um, for most of my running career, I guess.
So do you have any role models in the 1500 and 3K that you look up to? Because you've got a pretty fantastic runner going around the world circuit at the moment from Tasmania, don't you?
Yeah, Stuart McSwain.
Yeah.
He's definitely one I look up to and aspire to be like him.
He's been doing an amazing this year, hasn't he, in the Diamond League races? And, he's been right up there in the top, first three places, really, in the last couple of races. Do you think he's going to do really well in Tokyo at the Olympics?
Yeah, hopefully he does well. He's broken a few Australian records and uh, looks to be up there with the best times.
Yeah, fantastic. So having people like him, not only from Australia, but from your home state, does that inspire you to, really put a lot of effort into getting to that level yourself?
Yeah, it sort of shows that no matter where you come from or how small your state is, you can still make it to the Olympics or to a World Championships or something like that.
Have you ever met him?
No, I've never met him.
You haven't, right? We're going to have to organise that so that you get to meet him, and I'm sure he can pass on some great tips to you about
Yeah.
how to get to the Olympic Games. So at Love Athletes, we're going to be doing a lot of things to support you as you go forward. You've already got a fantastic coach. You've got great parents and a family unit that's supporting you as well. What are some of the other things that you think are required to support you at your age group in terms of what you're looking at doing in your career? What are some of the important things, do you think, that you need help with?
Well, I guess I think teammates are really important because they really keep you motivated to keep training, and can sort of have a competition during training to get to get better and better over time.
Yeah, right. And do you have a lot of teammates that you spend a lot of time with? Like, is it something that you hang out with them outside of training and racing as well?
Um, we hang out like mostly through training, but that's could be 2 times a week and sometimes go on long runs together, and I think that's going to be happening more soon.
Right.
Um, yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, during the week, we had some big news down here in Australia that Australia, in particular Brisbane, has been nominated for the Olympic Games to host the Olympics in 2032. You're going to be 25 years old. Are you going to be on the start line of the 1500 metres final up there in Brisbane, Luke?
Well, hopefully, if I keep training, trying my hardest, and see where it takes me.
But it must be very inspiring now for you to be seeing the Olympics coming back to Australia at your age, where you've got an opportunity to, target that as a real goal. Is it something that really motivates you?
Yeah, well, it's definitely a perfect time to run in the Olympics, being 25 and sort of peaking in terms of running ability.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about some of the goals you have, other than obviously getting to the Olympics, because it's not something that just happens overnight. There's got to be, some other short-term and medium-term goals that you want to achieve first. So what are some of the goals that you've got that you want to achieve, say, in the next couple of years? What would you like to achieve with your athletics career?
Well, really short coming up is the cross country championships. So I want to try to do well in that, and having to run upper age group, but that depends if that goes ahead or not because of COVID. But I would also love to maybe make an Australian junior team or something like that.
And,
Yeah.
and what ages do the Australian junior teams start at?
I think like about 20, under 20s, I think.
Under 20s, okay. Well, you haven't got long to go before you get there. Those 6 years are going to go fairly quickly, so you're going
Yeah.
to have to get yourself in order. Now, you're already a national champion, so as I said earlier, you're a pretty humble guy, and you don't like telling people too much about your successes, but you are already a national champion. Tell us about that. What was the race you won?
Well, in the Australian National Junior Championships, I won the um, 3,000 meters. Um, only just though.
Well, you still won it. Doesn't matter if you won it by a centimetre, right? So were you happy? Obviously, you were very happy with your race. Did you think you were going to win it when you started the race?
I had no idea because I ran the 1500 the night before, and really just got boxed out in that race, and it was really cramped and there was a lot of bumping, so I didn't know if the 3K was going to open up and sort of allow me to run my own race.
And did the 3,000 open up so you could run your own race?
Yeah, it was a lot more strung out, and there was sort of a bit of a breakaway towards the end, so I was able to maneuver easily around people.
Now that's a pretty amazing effort to be able to run a 1,500 the night before and then double up and come back and run the 3,000 the next day. Were there many other competitors that did both races?
There was a few, but a lot did the 1,500, then went to the 8, which was not the next day, but the day after. But I was even considering doing the 800-meter heats, but my legs were just too sore.
you were gonna.
I was gonna try to do 3.
You're gonna try and do 3 events, okay? So moving forward, is it going to get to a stage where you have to focus on either the 1,500 or the 3,000, or is it something that you can manage both together? Because there's a lot of athletes that are running both distances at world level now, aren't there?
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on where I develop and whether I go into the sort of longer distances and just focus on that, or just stay at the middle distance. So hopefully I can stay doing the 2 events because I enjoy them both.
Yeah, right.
Gives you 2 chances as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you find hardest? You talked about the 1,500. You talked about getting boxed in. It can be a strategic game, very much the 1,500. Is that something you see a lot of opportunity to improve on, just getting more and more races and more experience in doing that?
Yeah, definitely. Positioning is very important in the 1,500. So I was sort of near the back and wanted to be up near the front on the leader's shoulder, which is much easier to move around.
Yeah. And are you the kind of guy that's got a big kick in the last 400, or are you somebody that likes to go out and make it a tough race?
I generally like to make it a tough race, but in the 3K I kicked in the last 100 meters, but not really known for that.
So you had a bit of a secret weapon that you didn't even know about.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's a great thing to have, and it's something you can use in future races, right?
Yeah, I can sort of trust that I have that kick and use it to my advantage.
What do you find the hardest about the 3,000?
I guess just keeping on going, keeping motivated during the race. Also, not going off by yourself, because it can really affect you in the later stages of the races.
I've always wondered, when I look at world-class athletes that do cross-country as well as track, whether they prefer one or the other. Do you like running cross-country more than track, or track more than cross-country?
I probably prefer track, but I guess that's because it also depends on how well I go, whether I like it or not. But yeah, at the moment it's track, just because you can sort of compare your times, and each race you can compare it, see how you're improving, whereas it's a bit different in cross country.
Now, you said you're coming into the cross-country season now. Is this a time where you build up a lot of strength by running cross-country? Does it really help with the foundation of your training?
Yeah, especially doing a lot of hills and adding the extra kilometres and sort of at that threshold pace.
Yeah, right. Now, does your training group have both a lot of girls and guys in it? Like, are you running against mixed races, or not mixed races, but mixed training?
Yeah, we have both girls and guys, but we sort of have training partners within that squad, which will be around the same pace as you, a bit faster, a bit slower, depending.
Yeah, right. Okay. Now, you're down there in Tasmania, so you're a long way from the rest of the world. Have you got ambitions in the not too distant future where you can go overseas and have some experience racing overseas?
Yeah, hopefully I'm able to go overseas and compete against people from other countries and people with a lot of experience.
Yeah. Now, it's hard when you're young, because you're starting off and you've got to get a name for yourself, but also it's not as though you've got a lot of sponsors knocking on the door. I guess mum and dad are helping you out with a lot of things at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely just mum and dad helping me out at the moment.
Okay. Well, we that's another thing we're going to help with here at Love Athletes is we're going to try and get you in the front of some pretty exciting sponsorship deals that can help you out with your career. We want to make it so that athletes get supported right from the beginning of their career and not just when they become famous on the world stage. So that's something we're going to try and do to help you out. Now, you're going to be making a little video for us on a weekly basis to show the global audience exactly how your training's going, some of the things that you're doing. Are you looking forward to doing that? Because you probably haven't done something like that before.
No, I've never done anything like that before, but I'm really excited to see what other people think of my training and sort of seeing what others do to train.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I think you're going to give a lot of people some insight around the world about how a 14-year-old goes about his athletics career. But who knows? There might be someone famous out there that watches it that gives you a few tips as well, yeah?
Yeah, hopefully that happens.
Wouldn't that be cool if you got a Norwegian middle distance runner send you some tips over Facebook or something?
Yeah, it sure would be.
Very good. So there's lots of things that we're going to do going forward. So let's talk about your upcoming schedule. You talked about the cross country. Exactly when are some of the races coming up that you've got?
Well, the national cross country I think is the 21st of August, but that can it's either going to be most likely going to be postponed or cancelled. So I don't know about that. Other than that, I've got club races pretty much every week, which is just for my club Eastern Suburbs. And then later on in the year, there's a national all school event for track and field.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. So, yeah, unfortunately, we're still in the midst of the COVID situation here in Australia. In fact, we're having another wave of it across the country at the moment, so it's not too good. We hope that goes away. If you're out there watching today and you're in lockdown and you're struggling with things, we send you our best wishes here from the Global Sports Channel. It is tough times for people, and we've got to do all the best we can for each other. So, as Luke would understand, getting out there and doing a bit of exercise has helped the old mind tick over, doesn't it, Luke, when you get out there and do a bit of sport?
Yeah, it certainly keeps you going.
Exactly, and we are allowed to go out and exercise. So if you're watching today, get out there and do a bit of walking, running or swimming or something to get yourself moving, and that'll help you along. Well, listen, Luke, we're really excited about having you on board as one of the global trialists in our Love Athletes program. As I said, everybody who's watching this video and listening to the podcast is going to be able to follow your journey on our website at loveathletes.com. Go to Luke Palmer's page and check out all the things that Luke's up to. He's written down there some goals that he's got over the next few years that he wants to achieve. And you've heard him say today that he wants to be standing on the start line in Brisbane 2032, representing Australia at the Olympic Games. And Luke, I'm sure you're going to make it, mate. And we're going to do everything we can in our little small way to help you get there as well. So Luke's going to be providing weekly videos on all the things that he's doing in his life to become a superstar athlete, and he's going to be sharing those with us through our different platforms here at the Global Sports Channel and also on Love Athletes. So if you haven't signed up to our YouTube channel, please do that, subscribe and hit the little bell notification button, and we'll be in touch as soon as we drop a new video. And check us out on social media, because we're going to be posting Luke's videos there as well, and also some images from the races that he's going to be doing in the not too distant future. So Luke, welcome aboard. It's great to have you, mate, and I'm really excited about you being part of our team, and we're going to be following your journey very closely here at the Global Sports Channel.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very excited to be a part of this.
Brilliant. We'll see you again soon, mate. There we go, folks. That was Luke Palmer from Tasmania. Great little guy, isn't he? Luke down there in Tasmania. And as I said at the beginning of the show, if Luke is doing a sport that you resonate with, or maybe you just want to help the guy out in his journey, go over to loveathletes.com right now, and you can find Luke's page there, and you can find out all about his sporting ambitions and what he's trying to do in his journey, some of the things he shared with us right now in the video. And as we move forward with our trial here at loveathletes.com, you're going to be able to follow Luke's journey. He's going to be posting videos and images every week on the website, and it's going to allow you to see how he's doing in competition, see how training's going, see how hard it is to be a young person who's trying to become a professional athlete. And that's the inspiration and motivation we want to give you so that you're able to help out these amazing athletes at loveathletes.com. So there we go. Great interview, I thought, with Luke Palmer, a great guy. We're going to be seeing much more of Luke here on the Global Sports Channel, as well as on the loveathletes.com website. So go over there at loveathletes.com to support Luke. Also, don't forget, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, please. Also, the bell notification, and you'll be notified every time that we drop a video on the Global Sports Channel. Well, that's it for me for this particular episode. My name is Mark Philpott. If you're out there and you're having tough times because of COVID-19 or anything else that's going on in life, I want to wish you all the very best. You're part of our global family. Come and join us here at the Global Sports Channel. We'll send you as much love as we possibly can. Until next time, stay safe and stay well, everyone. Bye for now.